Whether you think MMORPGs are dead or thriving, there is no dispute there is a lot of them. Some have closed, with small privately hosted servers carrying them into present day, while others are striving to create some sort of new experience to hold on to whatever remains of their player base. The question is, what is wrong with the MMORPG formula that has led them to being seen as dead or dying? And how will the MMOs of tomorrow combat the burnout of the genre? Hell if I know. But I do want to analyze the MMOs currently in rotation, or at least in rotation for me. I've created a somewhat reasonable list of current day MMORPGs, or at least major MMOs that have had effects on the landscape as a whole. Now, we all know multiplayer is in the name of the genre, so I've forcibly recruited my friend Sean, or Sokka, to help provide a fresh perspective, as he's rarely, if ever, played a single MMO. Without further ado, this is Endgame content. All right. This is the first game we're going to try and play on this weird quest that I've decided to undertake. I don't even know if we're going to use this audio, but we'll see.
We'll find out. I'll find out. What game are we doing?
Trove? Okay, that's an interesting one to start with.
I do not know anything about it because I don't know anything about most of these, to be honest.
Well, you can start by finding it on Steam and downloading it. It's not that big, and it's gonna be interesting. All right, there we go. We're in. We're in there like somewhere.
Okay, let's see what we got for classes in this game. Tomb Raiser, which appears to be a skeleton necromancy man.
Mm-hmm.
Boomeranger, which I assume means you're Australian.
Yeah, typically.
Gunslinger, which means you're an American. Candy Barbarian. If we're keeping with this trend, I'm going to go with Swedish. I have no basis for calling you Swedish on that. And Knight. Looking at it, I'm a little curious at what Candy Barbarian does, but I think I'm going to try Gunslinger.
Heard that. I feel like I'm being walked through what can be done.
Oh, I'm being attacked. Fuck you, skeleton. Fuck you, you're a bitch.
Showing and not, or telling and not showing.
So my personal goal, as it stands right now, since I also need something to do while we're figuring out what you want to do with this game,
Yeah,
is I'm going to try and get 750 of those points so I can try the Fey Trickster class.
So that's what I was going to say. Is maybe our goal should be trying to unlock a further class. Maybe we should try and make that the goal of like this game. Another thing I was gonna say is a big thing about this game is it has a ton of biomes. So I think another thing about this game might be like, let's try and fight a dungeon in every biome.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Okay, so I've got a list of the biomes. There is the Peaceful Hills, Medieval Highlands, the Lost Isles, Sea of Deep Regret, Permafrost, Cursed Vale, Desert Frontier, Fey Forest, Candoria, Neon City, Jurassic Jungle, Dragonfire Peaks, and Forbidden Spires. And that's just in the Prime world. There's also Elemental Worlds and Cursed Worlds, or Cursed Skylands, as well as Igneous Islands, Shadow Realm, Geode thing, and then there are other removed biomes, but I assume the removed biomes aren't going to be obtainable, given as they are removed.
I think it would be really funny to be a gunslinger Candy Barbarian. I don't think that's functional though.
Yeah. I'm thinking, well, I don't know, you might be able to. I don't know how gear works in this game.
No idea.
Literally none.
I'm going to go Tomb Raiser.
So, the first hurdle was getting used to the UI of the game, which is slightly more convoluted than your typical MMO, with some pretty important menus hidden away as tabs of other important menus.
Yeah.
That being said, we did also get a mount from the free unlockables. We got one, I think. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it. We got like the bouncing cake.
Okay, how do we activate it?
That's a great question. Character sheet, class select, inventory, adventures, Bomber Royale,
Mount.
claims. Where'd you find mount?
I pressed C, and there's something listed under mount.
Oh, yeah, there is.
I don't know how to activate. It didn't seem to activate it though.
We have to equip it. Okay, so it's equipped. I assume there is a mount button in the controls. Equip mount. Z. Aha! John, I'm riding a giant cake-like titty.
Yeah, let's fucking go, boys.
This is kind of gnarly as hell. Okay, so that's kind of sick. I like the mount, but we do have to find Sebastian's still. Like, we can't just... Oh, there he is. I played this when I was, like, 17.
I don't even know where you are, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Can I invite you to a party? Where are you
It'd be
at?
really convenient.
Where are you?
I'm near Sebastian's trough.
Oh, I heard. I'm coming back over that way. With my bouncy titty cake. There you are. Let me see. Can I... Is there any way to interact with you? Hello? Yeah, let's see. Do I have a friends list? Welcome, F1. Okay. Tomorrow is XP day. Today is Dragon Day. Friends. Oh. Okay, okay. Oh. Add your name. Alright, so... Alright, cool. So, invite. Okay, so there's no, like, partying. I can just teleport to you wherever you are. Now that we're friends, I can just immediately join you and teleport to your location. Sick. That's actually pretty convenient, unironically. So enemies seem pretty linear, but I don't mind that early on. Once you get used to a game and its situation. There's a portal over here, though. I think this is to the... Oh, yeah, this is to the boss. Okay. I got a strange hat and a strange mask. What do you think? I have a snail on my head and I look like a witch.
I support it.
Would you fuck me?
You can use M1. What is M1?
A mouse one.
Oh. Welcome to the hub world, Rovian. It's me again. Come find me. Next to the statues of my game is actually struggling for once because there's so many fucking assets. I need to get the fuck out of here.
I think we're in a different instance of this world, but oh my god. So, these biomes, there's a lot of them. We have to get a higher power rank to get to some of them, too.
Okay.
Okay, that's actually a good little, like, mission, though. If we get a power rank of 900 or greater, we can start entering pretty much... Oh, no, this one needs 2,500. Okay. This one needs 5,000. So I think 5,000. We need a power rank of 5,000 to reach all the biomes. So if we want to do a dungeon in every biome, we've got to... I guess we've really got to crank our hog. Oh, this one requires a power rank of 4,200 and... Nah, 42,000 is not a power rank I'm going to get to. I don't think I'm doing that one. All right. Okay, so you've seen the gameplay loop. Find dungeon, clear dungeon, loot dungeon, move on. Seems simple enough. I want to use this time to mention that not having a party function where you can track your party members made us extremely reliant on the join teleport function, which I think like works a little bit better in this one than other MMOs. Oh, sunlight balls. All right, this place is a bust. Let's go somewhere.
That's probably a dungeon. That looks like
yeah. Oh, but look over there. So that dungeon's been completed. You see the one with the big X that's been created over top of it?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But this one doesn't appear to have been.
Wait, there's also this. What is this? Well, you get some of it too. I'm not going to take it all.
I think that the way that it works... let me do an experiment real quick. Did something fly into your inventory just now?
Yeah. I got Cinnabar.
Okay, cool. So if you're close enough, it just does. It doesn't matter who hits it. You just automatically collect it.
Oh, okay, that's gnarly. That's Gnarls Barkley. Okay, what is this? Oh, shit. Okay, is this a different type of boss, I guess? Okay, sick. So I think that people, right? We just
Yeah, I gotta say, like, combat doesn't feel great, to be honest. Mostly because everything just keeps kind of exploding.
Yeah, I think we're gonna. I think it's sort of a very friendly sort of situation.
I really need to go through my items and see if there's like anything better that.
Yeah, we can do it after this. Seems like early on, a lot of MMOs have this like sort of gear cycle early on, where you know you're constantly upgrading at such a fast pace really quickly.
Yeah.
Because I definitely have a lot of blue gear on me that I'm not wearing. Things aren't doing a lot of damage yet, but I get the feeling that once they start doing damage, this game's gonna get a little. Because it's not super clear like when they're attacking or what their radius is.
Yeah, their hitboxes are kind of nuts.
Yeah. There are some enemies who have a very specific hit radius. Like they have like the cone in front of them. Alright. Good job. Now we got a bigger chest. Ooh, I got a purple.
I also got a purple.
162 shapestone ore, and this one takes 2 of these shapestone ore to make this thing. I think I'm just gonna make a bunch of. I'm just gonna make everything here.
Yeah, that's what my plan was when I got to it.
Ooh, there's spooky ore right there. We got somber soul. This is right around the area where Sean began to suspect that this game's gameplay was shallow and he began to seek a further purpose. Not to spoil too much, but boy did he find some purpose. We were still bewildered encountering each new dungeon design and truly soaking it in, and latching on to anything we could find that would interest us. Chicken! Oh, big chicken! Big chicken! Alright, pretty cool gear. Alright, we're mostly brand new to the game, and have just been following Cubesley through a suggested questline, and up to this point we were optimistic. We had seen some really cool voxel-based builds of different structures, and gotten in our first session to a reasonable level 11, which was basically 1/3 of the way to the max of level 30. This is when the questline brought us to the delve mechanic. Now, I'm not playing the audio here because it was largely us getting lost, taking too long to pick up on something very simple because we were searching for some sort of deeper meaning to this new mechanic. There had to be a reason the game was pushing us towards this endless dungeon stuff. It wasn't giving us better gear, it was actually worse. It wasn't seeming to give us any resources that were particularly unique or useful. We were lost. In a cave, deep below the earth. And running on about 4 hours of playing game. Sean had to work, so eventually I did some research, found out why we were stupid, and now was the time to really bring that stupid to the forefront.
Okay, so Sean, I've done unreasonable amounts of search. First of all, so here's a couple of things we've been missing. This is gonna take way longer than we thought it was.
It's an MMO.
Yeah, it's gonna be way longer. I've looked into the research, I've done some math. It's gonna be a bit. It's gonna be a lot of grinding. It's gonna be a lot of repetitive shit. So, but good news. You didn't pick one of the 2 of them that on every wiki page I looked up says, do not pick these 2, they take years to grind.
Here, hold on. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. The audio for this is kind of scuffed. I messed with my mic settings, which bungled my voice, then somehow both my game and Sean just got way louder out of nowhere. I didn't even mess with those settings. It should turn out fine, given that this is the part of the video where I think I know what I'm doing, but have only actually learned, like, about half the knowledge necessary to be successful.
Oh dear God. You fucking nerd.
So, this is my house that I made a long time ago. It has all of these crafting benches. I don't want to make the crafting benches again, because there's a ton of shit in here. I also have so many resources. So there's an elevator right here. You can bounce up. Keep in mind it's a little disorienting, so take it at your own peril. There's also portals up here to go to different worlds. Yeah, and then you can keep going up top. Yeah, and then you can go all the way up top where I have all of my plants growing.
Did we figure out how how delving works?
Yes, we just got to get to the end. We needed to move through things. When things were glowing, that meant that we cleared that area. You can't now, so I'm harder to distinguish.
Yeah. Fortunately, you'll always be able to find me, because I have cake.
Alright, so the goal is to just go. We just need to beat the timer. We have 7 minutes. So we just go.
So at around this time is when we do a delve for like nearly an hour and a half, spending 2 floors of the delve not knowing what to do, then eventually reading the corner of the screen like people with brains do, and then learning. Now here's where I tell you this was basically all pointless and gained us virtually nothing. The part of the delves that is useful doesn't happen until about delve level 20, in which case shadow caches drop and can drop some weekly resource farm stuff. Needless to say, we started at delve level 9 because that's what the game dictated our power rank could handle. We also need to forge a key with shadow key fragments, but that's a relatively simple blunder compared to the amount of time we wasted here.
Looks like my class kind of sucks. Really old me has
Yeah.
now, which is I'm sick of mining really slowly.
I mean, old you and new you do have some personality traits in common. For instance, both of you are a bitch.
I mean, you know, Sean, it takes one to know one, you bitch.
Yeah, true.
I'm getting legendary gear from this.
Anything worth a
gear,
damn?
It's good. Let's go to a mega dungeon. Let's
Yeah, we're doing baby bitch shit right now. I need to do big baby bullshit.
Oh my god, this place looks insane. Like,
And the overworld is so pretty.
the most power rank in the game. Without gems, you won't get that high. So we needed gems. How do we get gems?
I got some fire gems from some chests.
I think if you go to the C, there's a gem menu. A gem-u. That, like... right now, I only have 1 water socket.
This is when we started to chip away at the iceberg that was gems, and the requisite farm that would ensue would lead us to the brink of despair and then rebound us into a land of readjusting our goals. The goal of having Sean grind shadow chests and just Neon City in general to get the Neon Ninja, his current advanced class fascination, was gone. We needed to hit these biomes and leave before the burnout conquered us, like it almost did at the end of this session.
A lot less pretty than the Fey area.
Yeah, well... I think it's pretty in a different way. I was like, the enemies are silly as hell.
I just immediately explode.
This feels a little slow to be leveling.
What is there to be good at the...
And then there's a forge here, which lets you upgrade your gear. But, like, that doesn't seem to have almost any effect on my power rank. Like, almost none.
Hmm.
You wanna know what it looks like? It looks like we just do what we've been doing for like the past 3 hours, but do it for another like 2,000 hours. I'm not as excited as I was when we started this journey.
Hmm.
I'm not,
Richard,
you know what's up, big dog?
do MMOs take time?
Yes, okay. It's but I think thousands of hours is not this. We're just talking about progressing. We're not even talking about being like good at something. We are purely just talking about making progress in a game, and it is virtually impossible.
Yeah. I do wholeheartedly agree with this in that, like,
This is beyond like time consuming. This is life
'cause
in enrapturing.
and right now, I gotta say, um, like the environments are really interesting. We've established this. That's fine. But like I don't want to struggle to kill every enemy only to be one shot like half the time. You know?
Yeah.
We grinded a ton more dungeons, both in the area where we were getting one-tapped and in lower areas, just to see if that was the issue. It wasn't. The problem we were facing was simple. Each dungeon gave one gem box. Both of us were magical damage classes, using whatever the highest power rank gem was. We weren't paying attention to how much physical damage or magical damage they were giving us, therefore we had mostly useless stats. That, on top of being underleveled and therefore only having one gem slot, and also not having done the quest, which explains gems a bit more thoroughly and rewards us with slightly better gem chance stuff. We were completely trounced. Most of the gems we were getting were around 7 to 100 power rank even when we upgraded them, which, if we were playing long term, would have been a bad idea because we should have saved the gem dust for better gems. So, reaching that goal of 5,000 power rank felt almost impossible. And, you know, I know what you're saying. Like, it's not that we couldn't farm for more gems, it was just that we were barely 8 hours into the grind, and things were already a bit dense. Don't get me wrong, I was prepared for a grind. I was ready for this. But this early in the game, and with returns like one gem per dungeon that may or may not be something better than what we have, things were looking bleak.
Say anything about like it's like my concern.
Doesn't say anything about anything, Chef. It's just that we're stupid and trash. That's what it says. That's what it says, Sean. I wish I was kidding. It says that we're stupid little bitches.
The other thing is this game is very obviously like tailored towards children, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the difficulty curve that we're discovering,
Yeah.
I feel like most children would be able to fucking comprehend.
I don't know. They do. They clearly do. Children play this game. I've accidentally made 2 adventurers crafting benches, Sean. Can I drop this to you somehow? I don't know. I think we've just gotta give it our all, Sean.
Yeah, we gotta muscle through.
We've just gotta push and make it happen, Captain.
I'm willing to do that to a point.
Yeah.
I will say I do want a ripcord eventually.
Yeah, there might be a point in this game when I have to continue, and then I have to just dedicate my life to achieving the impossible.
Like I'm not throwing in the towel. Not yet.
But we've definitely like come up against the first mountain, which is that
Yeah.
this is definitely gonna like I don't know any other game that requires you to this early in the cycle of the video game to just put your nose to the grindstone and force it to happen. There's no
I feel like
quests or anything, bro.
wait, because the quest that I have currently is fucking do it, bitch.
Sure, dumbass.
That's the quest.
Okay, let's take a break. Because it is
Yeah.
this is a oh god, they're here. Shut up!
They fucking sent the Pinkertons after us. They're like, keep talking shit, bitch.
I know. I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm running away. Please. I'm going to the ring. Motherfucker. That's terrifying.
They sent
them after us. So scared. They fucking bombed us, dude. They fucking bombed us. I don't even know what to do anymore. Oh my gosh. Let's take a break. Quick, before they find us. All right. So I've officially done a lot more research. I've watched that guy I showed you. I've watched his entire playlist of tutorial videos. I now understand how things are working right now. And then I also understand how they were supposed to work and why they don't work that way anymore. So, okay, let me take you down let's go on a trip. Let's go on a little trip down memory lane there, Sean. All right. So this game initially releases under Tryon Worlds, right? They're the original owners of the IP, and they host and create new content. And that's what initially caused the inflation of this game, was the amount of interaction that the devs had with the players. There was a lot of like back and forth, a lot of communication. Games slowed down as MMOs do, and the money stopped coming in. So they sold it to another company that I can't remember the name of right now. That company then tried to put some devs into it to make it a little bit better, and then couldn't, and then sold it to the company who owns it now. The company who owns it now is very well known and has publicly stated multiple times that they only keep, they have a bunch of MMOs under their like lineage. They only keep like the top like 5 MMOs in money making, and they shut down the rest of them. So they keep buying new MMOs, and the second they drop out of that top 5, they shut the servers down. So luckily Trove is still their number 2 most money making game. But they are the ones who slashed the budget on the dev team. All of the new releases and the new content have been belabored by forcibly applied cash grabs. Things are not the way that they were meant to be. So, and that being said, all of this to say that they cut a bunch of developers, and then initially the makers of Trove were like, okay, so as long as Trove has existed, there has been duping, right? Duping is the process by which you multiply items through some sort of glitch in the system, right?
Yes.
So through this duping, people were getting ahead. But at first, it was a small community of people who were duping, or there wasn't enough of them to really be hugely interested, and Trove just sort of ignored them and let them be their own community. The company that took over this time had a problem with that, because you can't make money on forcing people to buy items with real money if they are duplicating them instead. Because that it crashes the economy if you like create a certain level and power rank. Our gem farming isn't even going to farm the gems we'll need later. Here's my remastered version of what I think we can do in this game. So I think we can still do a dungeon in every biome. I firmly believe it. Because me, after I've only played for... Keep in mind, some of this is inflated because I spent a lot of time doing the wrong things. But now that I have a bit more knowledge, I can make sure we're doing the right things. In the amount of time I've played more than you, which is roughly 15 to 20 hours of actual play doing the right thing, I have managed to increase my power rank by about 1,000 or so. And I think we could probably do it even faster with 2 of us. So what I think the plan should be is that fighting a boss in every biome is relatively simple. So all we need to do is reach power rank 5,000, which should not be incredibly hard. Like I said, I'm already at 36,000 now. If we get to power rank 5,000, that will at least put us at the ability to enter every dungeon. We are going to get our shit rocked in most of the later dungeons because power rank 5,000 is not enough. But that should give us the ability to at least experience the different content that the game has. We technically don't even get to start farming the right gems for like end game content until we are at power rank 35,000. So we're not doing that, Sean. Our goal is just to hit a done. I don't care how we do it. I've joined a club as well. I found out that one of the perks of being in it, one of the active benefits, is just like flat stat increases. Just like flat out stat increases. Like I have, because I'm in a guild, I have 15% additional damage. I have additional qubits a day. I have reduction from gem upgrade costs and an increased time or an increased chance for those gems to drop. I have basically double the health I had before. I have 150k health right now. All of this to say that I need to get you in the club I'm in.
Okay.
And then with that, that should give us a little bit of an edge on anything that is the same level as us, if that makes sense, right?
This is where I actually started to learn about the game. This is also where the game became ridiculously repetitive. We were not exploring dungeons anymore, taking in the grandiose picture of these voxel-based masterpieces. No, I would just bomb my way in, kill the boss, loot, and leave. We were not even looking at gear before we loot collected it for its flux and cosmetic value. We were efficient, but overall uninterested. We grinded for gems and XP and mostly silence due to the focus on becoming power rank 5,000 by the end of the day. It was Wednesday, which in the current cycle of the game was Gem Day. Gem Day basically meant for every $1 you put into the gem farming jar, Trove would slip half a penny into my uncle's pocket. So as to say, it slightly increased our chance of getting better gem boxes with empowered gems. From this point on, we weren't playing Trove anymore. We were robbing the world of the Trovians for all the gems it had. We did everything in our power to be efficient. We didn't have movement speed increasing equipment or anything insane like that, but we did go on the market and get faster gliding mounts for all of the flux I had. I had learned, and now was the time to use that knowledge to push us to our goal. We finally made it. Power rank 5,000. Well, technically over 5,000 power rank now. I didn't get it all on recording, but we did go back through and clear up the biomes challenge we had set forth to do. We also did the Shadow Tower, but I had to cut that for time as the video is already basically an hour and a half. Here is our reaction to Crystal Gear. Crystal. The new height we had earned through this grind to 5,000 power rank.
Crystal staff! Oh my god, it does so much more damage, so much better. It goes, wait, hold on. So my old staff gave me 74 power rank. This staff at level 1 gives me 800.
Oh dear God. Okay.
It's just way better. It's not even a question. We've done it, Sean. We've made it to endgame content. It's the name.
That's the channel. We can quit now. I mean,
Well, Other than the long shade, which looks like it just repeats other biomes, I think we've done it.
Yeah.
So I'm in the top 70,000 players.
My game glitched out, to be honest.
Well, you know.
Let me see. So we check K to check the leaderboard. My rank is in the 94,216.
Yeah, I'm at 70,858.
Yeah, so makes sense, to be honest. Oh, hey.
All right, Sean. So here we are. I'm at my power rank is currently 11,203. Your power rank is
7,459.
well.
It was 10 away from greatness.
Yeah. How do you feel?
Fucking exhausted, to be honest. Granted, I know that MMOs are not meant to be played like this to one degree or another. You're not meant to go through and try and get anywhere in an MMO in a week.
Yeah.
I understand this. That said, fuck this game.
Yeah. All right, John. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with the pros here. So what do we think?
Okay.
What do we think is the strong highlights of this game?
Art design. I think I like the cubic nature of it. I was initially not really a fan of. You were immediately a fan of because of well, probably nostalgia and Minecraft and such. But I think that overall, like the pixelated nature of the kind of low res things, it's pleasant. It's cute, and I like a lot of the designs. I think that the biome diversity is really strong. I think that like no two areas like really look the same. No two areas really are all that derivative, other than like the delves a little bit, but I can't blame them for that. Well, I can blame them, and I will blame them later, but this is the pros section. The humor's pretty good. I think that the jokes that they put in is all right for the audience that they're trying to do. It's pretty funny. Those are my pros.
Okay.
What are your pros?
Okay, so for me, I mean, you mentioned like nostalgia, but it's not even nostalgia. It's just like I know how hard or how like time consuming I should say that voxel based like creations like this are, and how like time consuming it is to polish them to a degree where they actually look impressive to any real degree. So I get what that takes. The enemies are very samey, right? Like all of the enemies, like there's like probably I'd say like 15 variations of what enemies can be. And they're just like, you know, reskinned or retextured a lot of the times for different areas. And I think that's like largely fine for a game like this. I think the strongest aspect of this game is its personality. I think it has so much like it's so clear what the devs were looking for when they started making this game, what they intended for it to be, and what it could have been. I think like all of that is very strong. It clearly has like a heart and soul. Another thing I want to point out is like the community of this game is incredibly interesting to me. Like I said, I've watched like this guy's I've watched like maybe probably close to like 30 hours of YouTube content about this guy. The community around this game clearly cares about it so dearly. Like the people who are at Endgame, the people who have this stuff, people who are 50,000 power rank or what have you, clearly care about this game on a very, very real level. And I think that like you can see why. I think it's very easy to see how if you had been in the right place at the right time, this game could have easily like enraptured you and like carried you away. I think that that's where it lives. That's the strongest aspects of this game. all of the goofy things, all of the like it's clearly meant to be very fun, all that sort of stuff. Let's move on to the cons here. So Sean, what do you think about this game? And let's be constructive here. Let's not just say it's dog shit.
Constructive. Okay, so firstly, mostly because you said that we can't do it. This game is dog shit. But no, I think that there's an intrinsic lack of. So the tutorial section does hold your hand for a hot minute, and that's fine mostly because this is not a typical. This is not what I've experienced in other games that I've played. This is not. This doesn't feel very MMO in its start to me. But immediately after finishing the tutorial, they give you basically no direction. I also feel like the tutorial doesn't really give you the tools to succeed. My understanding is that the tutorial is like an after the fact thing after the game had been bought and sold like 4 times, and they were trying to reinvigorate the user base with new people, and it didn't really function. So I understand that the tutorial is not necessarily like representative of what the game was meant to be, but I don't think it does a particularly good job of directing you. I also think that like the fact that after 5 hours of gameplay, we just stalled out because we were meant to be a certain power level. We were meant to be able to do certain types of content, like as far as like the UI, what the UI was telling us we could do, and we couldn't do that content. We kept getting one shot. It was incredibly frustrating. It turns out that you're meant to grind a bunch of fucking nonsense that is arcanic in that like you have to like have someone walk you through it. It's a Wikia game, or in your case, a money game, or whatever the fuck that guy's name was, where you have to watch 30 hours of YouTube content to have the ability to play the game. That is a severe weakness. The enemies do get a little repetitive. I do not like the dungeon. I like the dungeon design, and I liked the enemies in the dungeon, but the way that you interact with the dungeon, I hated, to be honest. Bad, because like you're incentivized to like skip, because you have to do so much grinding, you're incentivized to skip 95% of the content, which again is cool. Like the voxel design is cool, but we don't get to see a lot of it. This may just be a me thing. I had the same problem for the brief time I played WoW and Final Fantasy XIV, but the gameplay loop is kind of brain dead. I understand that I just complained that it doesn't give you any direction, but once you're actually grinding, there's nothing to think about. 95% of the stuff that you pick up is garbage, and you're just going to loot it. You're going to just trash it immediately. There's like no real build to follow. There's no complexity in gameplay because it's you press mouse 1, mouse 2, 1 and 2, and in the gunslinger's case, you don't even think about what you're doing. I think that the gameplay itself is bad. Like it is not interesting to me on any level. The only thing that I think saves the game, like I said, is like the voxel design. Oh, you do get 200 jumps, which is cool. 200 jumps, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think I largely agree here. I think that the gameplay loop is just not. I don't know. I shouldn't say it's bad. It's not for me. Clearly, some people enjoy it. Like some people enjoy like grinding this game and like sort of forcing the almost. I don't know. I say forcing, sort of just like pulling the fun out of it. And I think those are people who just sort of like feed off of like, oh, big number. And I think that honestly, that's largely fine. I think like a huge portion of like MMOs in general are like people who just like to see number get big. And I don't inherently think that that's wrong. What I find to be an issue is when the only point of your game is numbers get big, right? I have these quests over here. I need to go do a geode vault to gather random stuff in a geode. the only point in going to geodes at all is to increase the number of crystals you can get, or increase the number of gems you can find. Everything in this game is a function to create the avenue of gem collection. It is every aspect of this game is gem collection. There isn't another method of playing the game. There's not another alternative. It's just collect the gems, Bentley Bear. And I think that on a whole, that is weak. I don't think that, like, I just don't think that's a good enough motivation. Like, gameplay loops are going to be pretty, like, generally are relatively brainless in MMOs, because I think that, you know, you're a character that's building over time. You're going to grow inherently slightly slowly in every MMO. So I think that on like the flat, you know, the flat surface of it, that's just how MMOs work. But with this game in particular, only having 3 buttons is like, the rest of your game has to be very, very intriguing. There has to be, all right, so something I'll point out here, and I'll make like a very specific example. When I used to play this game back in the old days of yore, the Shadow Temple, the Shadow Tower entrance portal, was like the thing at the end of the tunnel, and the game sort of built up that there were these chaos invaders, and you saw them in the world. When you were in the dungeons, you saw chaos invaders, dudes who didn't look like other monsters in the biome and were harder than other monsters in the biome. Also, sometimes you would just get straight up invaded, where like a portal would open in the middle of the sky. These guys would slam down on your nuts and they would just fuck you up, and they were way stronger than the things you were around. So you were interested in that. You wanted to go to the shadow portals. You wanted to fight the shadow goons because they had been fucking you up all your life, and you wanted revenge, right? And that's like a natural cause and effect of like the medium, and that gave you a drive. But largely, the Shadow Tower, completely pointless now. There's no point in going there.
Well, I did think of one more con, and I want to continue on this, but I think it's going to tie into something that you're saying. There is no story in the same way that the game has no direction, like in order to push you in any way. The game also, right now, as we played it, has no story. Like in WoW, there's always a story that if you want to follow it, if you're a lore guy, you can follow something in WoW or in Final Fantasy XIV. There is something else to grab your attention and to keep you invested. And you can have a simple gameplay loop like WoW does if you have an interesting story. But you can't, this game doesn't have that, right? Like these invaders used to matter, they no longer matter, because we keep hearing about the Moon Princess in the tutorial, but as soon as the tutorial is over, the Moon Princess no longer fucking matters. She does not exist outside of a challenge that you can accomplish, in our case,
A single boss battle.
like in a single boss battle, easily. It's not even a challenge as far as like mechanics go. We were outside of the time where we were getting one shot by everything. We had exactly one problem boss the entire time, which isn't very interesting. It's not like it's not like WoW or Final Fantasy XIV, where there's raids that you do at higher levels with 400 people, and like scheduling becomes an issue. And there's no story to be interested in. There's nothing.
I mean, like that's the issue. Is like there's no drive. There's nothing motivating a player. And MMO, like there's like 3 default motivations in every MMO, right? There is like the innate want to explore, the innate want to become more powerful, and the innate want to know what's going on, right? So this is like the 3, like the triad of motivation for an MMO, right?
I want to take this time to put a disclaimer. These are all just Sean and I's opinions based on a small sample size of playtime. Extremely small. I'm talking, for me, like probably less than 80 hours. For Sean, even less so. I also want to make it clear that to anyone who loves this game and thinks it's awesome, that's great for you. I'm glad you have that sort of passion in your heart for any game. As a whole, I would also prefer to like something over disliking something. The world could just use more things to like. I just wanted to make a thing analyzing MMOs and what's wrong with them. This game is a good example of the crushing scrutiny that MMOs have found themselves under. Anyways, just know that if you like this game, that's okay. We don't have to like the same things, and I hope you continue to enjoy this game. I want to clarify. I don't think anyone. I'm not bashing anyone who plays this game. All right, so now let's move on to the rating
not at all.
system. So it is going to be 5 categories out of 5, reaching for a total of 25. So, largely, let's start with potential, because I think potential is the easiest one for Trove. I think potential. I give Trove I think like a 4 out of 5 on potential. I think that this game had the ability to be one of the best games of its era. I think it could have been at least as big as any of the other second tier MMOs. We're talking about like Terra. I think it had the potential to be that big and just could never reach it.
Okay. I'd say that, yeah, a 4 out of 5 is entirely fair. The gameplay loop could be modified in a way that's more interesting. You could have the story re-implemented in a way that is interesting. You spoke of back in the day where there was actually a story to be had, and that sounds interesting to me. I might have enjoyed that a lot more than I enjoyed this. So 4 out of 5 seems fair.
Moving on, gameplay loop. I want to give it a 2 out of 5, because there are a lot of ideas here that have a lot of potential and just sort of are belayed by these time constraints forced by, sort of trying to implement a money-making scheme. I don't think the delves would have been that bad if they had been handled correctly. Like, I don't think if the progression was less hours of time, not hours, if the progression was less months of your time and was more hours of your time, right? I think it has like a lot of solid ideas. You've seen a lot of games practice it, but like the sort of theory of like an endless dungeon, a dungeon that is generated endlessly, and you can just keep going through it over and over again as part of like some sort of late game power loop. It does work in some instances. I think this one is poorly performed, but I think it could work if it were changed. So I'll give gameplay loop a 2 out of 5. What about you?
I would give it a very soft 2, almost a 1, because to be honest, there was so little to engage me, and it might be that I'm a bad MMO player. It might be that I have a bad mind for this kind of thing, but the intrinsic mindlessness of it without anything else to engage me, I hated. I especially hated the delve, and I especially hated the geo delve that happens later that you were completely locked into if you want to get anything done in the fucking game. I hated those. The dungeons themselves could be interesting. I enjoyed us playing the dungeons earlier in the game because we would actually explore the dungeons and we would talk a little bit about the art, and that was interesting to me. But it could have been improved. There are ways of doing this better. I think it's an interesting concept, and to go back to the potential, it has a lot of potential to be modified to be more interesting. But as it stands right now, I think it's pretty trash. I think 2 out of 10 is fair, but also generous.
2 out of 5. Yeah. I just think that there are ideas here. Like, it's clear somebody tried. They're not very well represented.
I even kind of like the idea of the speed mechanic, because that was one of the first things we researched. I like the idea of trying to get through a dungeon fast. I just don't think that these dungeons are implemented well for that outside of the bombing mechanic.
And that's another thing is I should talk about the geode delves as well. The geode caves, they are meant to be you're meant to build modules to improve your experience in there, right? You get the rocket boots, you get the backpack, you know what I mean? You get a bunch of things that you can build into and craft to improve your experience in the cave so that your grind isn't as gruesome. Again, I think this is affected by purely the capitalism of it. They want it to be that if you want to do it regular, it's several hours of your life. They want months of your life out of it. That's what they want.
They want you to have to really push for it to do it for free. If we just paid for the resources to just upgrade the stuff, to just get where we wanted to be, it would have been a lot simpler. And
Yeah.
that's why I give this a gameplay loop of 2, is because I think the gameplay loop, like, the skeleton is there. I think you just have to, if you just take every requirement on a resource and half it, and and we're in a much better place.
Yeah, the frustration is meant to like push you towards the store.
Yeah, there is a fine line. That is a big theme of this game. There's a fine line between frustration that pushes you forward and frustration that crushes your morale. There's a huge difference between those two things. But yeah, so moving on past gameplay loop, let's start with I'm gonna break art direction into 2 things. I'm gonna do visual and world building. Because I think that those 2 things are very large in an MMO, and the 5th one was fun. Visuals. I think this one gets at least a 3 out of 5, if not a 4 out of 5. I think the voxel based nature of this game is very good. I also think that what I think is more important is that there are things that aren't voxel based that give credence, that like sort of serve as reference, right? So let's say we're in the Geode Sanctuary, right? So in the Geode Sanctuary, there is an area outside of the Geode Sanctuary that is clearly not voxel based. It's got like this like weird energy shit to it, and it's not exactly square. It's just like sort of, regular. And I think that gives a good frame of reference for the voxel based stuff. I think that there's like torches, there's sources of fire, all of that sort of stuff that aren't as voxel based and are more natural. And I think that there's a good frame for that. I also think that every single dungeon was interesting to look at. Like when you looked at it from the outside, every single dungeon was cool. I don't think we found a single one where we were like, oh, that's lame. I think we found one where we were like, that's a Nintendo ripoff, and I think that's the closest we came.
Yeah.
And to be fair, yes, it was absolutely a Nintendo ripoff, but also,
it looked good.
Like,
it looks good.
Who cares?
Nintendo cares. We don't care, but Nintendo cares.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Okay. So my criticism is going to be a little bit harsher, because while I think that the voxel aspect of it, I do think that they've done a remarkable job in creating all of the voxel pieces. One of the things I wanted to bring up, and apparently this is a systemic issue. When you first boot up the game, there is a cinematic, and apparently for the past like 8 years at least, that cinematic for a substantial portion of players, both me and Richard experienced this, is zoomed into the top right or to the top left corner, and you do not get to watch the cinematic. You do not get to experience that as it's intended to be. And that kind of mistake existing in the first place, I think is emblematic of the capitalism problem, because there's just no money in fixing it. But it's also emblematic of a bad visual experience, because we didn't get to see the cool aspect of it. That is your introduction to the game, and it sucked. I will give this game, I think a soft 3 is perfectly acceptable. I think you could have done more. I think in that you could just smooth out that opening cinematic. I think that the visuals of the dungeons are beautiful. I do think that the different biomes are really cool, but I guess that's more world building. But like, it looks really neat the entire time I was playing it. Short of the opening cinematic just being fucked, and that, in my opinion, being kind of emblematic of larger problems.
And then let's go with world building. I'm gonna give this one a 1. I don't think that the current version of Trove builds the world almost at all. Like we've mentioned before in the pros and cons. The first tutorial quest mentions something about a queen of moons or a princess of moons or something, and then you never hear about her for the rest of the game. And then eventually there's a boss fight you can do that doesn't really give you anything meaningful and is only optional, really. at least at this point in the game cycle. At some point, I know it mattered. I know that it was. I mean, like, given, like, it's clear that that was meant to be their end game content. That was like where a lot of their dev team worked, right? Those were the raids, right? The raids that we were talking about that other MMOs have, where you need multiple people. That was clearly the content that was there then, and it's just sort of been moved past. It's just been left in the dirt, like as if, you know, like a new expansion. Whenever you're talking about any other MMO, the old stuff just sort of gets forgotten, and you move on to whatever's next. So yeah,
But
so
there's no next.
There's no next. Yeah, so I think world building is one.
One, I think, is accurate. And I really wish there was more variance in our opinions here. One, the biomes, which I've complimented their visual design a lot. I've talked about how I think that they're really cool. They don't really interconnect. They don't like transition into one another. Widely, it's just a contrivance of gameplay where you move from one biome to another biome. While those biomes have some identity, there's nothing here really in the biomes themselves. Yeah. Like, we get Quubsley in the first area. I thought there were going to be more hub towns, like there'd be a hub town per biome or something, like there are in other MMOs that I've played. That is not the case. There's the Moon Princess content, which, again, if Richard hadn't been here holding my hand, I actively would have forgotten about it, like, because it doesn't exist after the tutorial. If we weren't specifically going to do a boss in every biome or a dungeon in every biome, I would have not remembered that that person was mentioned or existed, because it's just not there. Additionally, the gimmicky nature of some of the items does, like, I understand that this is meant to be a lighter MMO, a lore light MMO for one degree or another, but some of the jokes do, which I complimented earlier, they do take away from, like, kind of the seriousness of what I feel could have been more impactful moments. Yeah, I think overall, there's nothing to sink your teeth in here for world building. Like, if world building is your thing, I gotta say, almost anything I've ever played would be better than this.
All right, Sean. Fun. What was fun? How much fun did you have playing this game, Sean? I'm laughing because Sean and I both separately had mental breakdowns about, like, farming in this game, because it is inherently confusing.
And frustrating.
I'll start with this one real quick, because I feel like I've got a little bit more to say, because I am the one who, like, watched all the fucking video. So,
I am the one who watches.
Yeah, I'm the one who viewed the content. But, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't help but, like, I'll start with my rating. I think that this game gets a reasonable 2 out of 5. I think that, like, exploring the world is fun. I think that, like, getting bigger numbers is fun. Like, inherently, I think it was very fun. I think that the method of getting bigger numbers is hidden under layers and layers and layers of shit. I think that there's a gear system here that largely doesn't matter. You've probably already seen it because I brought it up earlier, but until you get to crystal gear, your gear is nothing. Your gear is literally not, like, it goes from getting 86 power rank per piece of gear to getting 500 to 800 per piece of gear. We're not, like, this is not even, there's no discussion here. It's just flat out that, like, you just don't, your gear means nothing. You are just gathering gems until you get to a certain rank where you can then go back to farming gear again, but then you'll still need gems, 100% be farming gems. There's, like, a joke in every video that this guy makes that he's talking about how literally every player needs gems. You always need gems. He needs gems, and he's, like, one of the top players in the game. It's just gem farming, and I think that to a certain extent, like, it's spoiled. It's spoiled, like, a lot of the fun for the game. This game could have easily been a 4 out of 5 fun if, like, the gem farming was let me get this. Let me just break this. If your bosses just dropped the gems, it would be more fun. And I don't know how else to express this. Take the loot box out of my fucking face. Just let the boss drop the gem. I want to be rewarded for killing a boss. And I want that reward to matter. I don't want to be rewarded with a box that has a random chance to give me something important. Just let me. I'm looking through all the styles in my collection and all this stuff, and I've got all these, all these faces and all these, these hats, and that is all that grinding got me. There was no other reason to collect any of that gear. It was just a placeholder until something else happened. I could have gone through the whole game buck-ass naked and just gotten the gems and still been as powerful as I was going to be without the fucking gear. The gear is only good for having jumps, and that's because I like to jump because I think it's funny, and movement speed, and that's because I don't want to be in this game anymore.
Yeah.
I had a complete mental breakdown about this. Sean had a mental breakdown about this. And it was purely because there was no information presented. How to get stronger was not clear. And that was the problem. We wanted stronger. We had the motivation. It was not from the game. The motivation was from us having a thing to do. But we had a motivation. We could not accomplish it no matter what we did. And it just required me to study somewhere else, and I don't think that should be required. I think that all of the information needed to play your game should be within your game. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, you gave it a 2 out of 10, and I think you've made some reasonable, or yeah, it's 2 out of 5. I think a 1 out of 5, personally. So I agree with everything that you've said so far. There are wiki games that I think can be wiki games, and that's fine. Games where you have to constantly where they don't want you necessarily to memorize every little detail. They want you to look it up for ease's sake. But this game doesn't really have wikis at all. We had to consult videos, which are just
it has a huge wiki full of information.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
I didn't find it.
What you would have to do is you would have to manually Google each individual step. The wiki doesn't have like a string that leads you to like beginning play or how to get stronger or anything like that. At least not that I found. It just has you look up ingredient, it tell you where ingredient are.
The 1 out of 10 for this, because I did have fun in the beginning. I thought it was an interesting game. In like the first 2 hours, which. Considering the videos that Richard watched, that I watched a little bit of too, were recommending 2,000 hours, literally 1,000 times more time than I had fun with. Every system in this is obtuse. They do not tell you that gems matter at all. You do not. They will lead you to a quest eventually that tells you that you need gems, but they do not tell you how to get them, really. They do not tell you how important they are. And to underline one of Richard's points, my power rank is 7,389. 5,022 of that is just from gems. Gems are the most important mechanic in the game, bar none, as near as I can tell. Richard is not wrong about that. It is required that you have good gems. And if you don't, die about it, literally, because that was the literal reason we kept getting one shot.
So until you get to 5,000 power rank, it is all gems, which is a bulk of the early game play. We would be considered just having breached a mid game, I think. And that's too much of the game. This was, again, for me to reach 10K was like, I'd say 13 hours of study. Of just watching his videos, learning what to do, going to the places in the game, having to go back to the video, pause, see where he is, go back to my playing, find where he is, because the hub worlds are inherently confusing, which we didn't really touch on because it's such a small note in comparison to everything else. Everything's just sort of bundled up into weird areas, and like it doesn't make sense as to why they're grouped.
So one of the other aspects that I found eternally frustrating. Richard didn't necessarily, I don't know that Richard found this as frustrating as I did, but the UI for this game is
gonna touch on that.
garbage.
Yeah, everything is buried in 20 menus, and I could see how I could see the other side of this, right? Just learn the menus, right? There's only like 20 options or whatever, right, for places to find things, and each option has like 4 tabs, so there's like roughly 180 different places to find things. So what could be so hard about that?
But like, and if we're going to spend 25 billion hours doing this, we would memorize all of the menus. But intrinsically, as new players, that's incredibly hostile, and it speaks to me of a system or a series of systems that have been stacked on top of each other to bad effect.
And now I'm gonna give like a final rating. Sean, you don't have to do this. So for me, there are like 4 options. The lowest of the low is don't play this game. Just above that is play this game if you have a lot of free time. Just above that is you'll enjoy playing this game. And above that is this game is foundational to understanding MMOs, and like sort of just like playing this game will help you with every other MMO. It's like it just will. Just by playing it, you'll learn more about how MMOs work, and you will be able to move forward with more. I would give this like a play if you've got a lot of time on your hands. Like if you're, I mean, and let's like touch on this as a positive a little bit, but if you are a 6 to 12-year-old child, you have nothing but free time. This game's available on console. Consoles are generally cheap and widely available. You just yes, I mean this game is inherently more fun the more you play it, because the more fun the more you play it, the bigger the numbers, and that being the inherent motivation of the game. Once you achieve that, you do feel satisfied. You get big number, like in this game. Sean didn't really get there as much as I did, but I got to a point where I had 800,000 health and nothing was killing me anymore, and then I could just deal damage, and dealing damage is fun. But having to constantly bounce between unfair hitboxes and having to be aerial and monitoring these things, like it just wasn't as fun for Sean. That's why his fun score was lower than mine, definitively. And that was partially due to the class we picked. I think that's it. GG, well played.
Well, you said that. And,
Go ahead.
fuck you. I'm going to do mine anyway. Don't play this game. It sucks.
I did it. Level 30. Level 30. Max level. Character. Oh boy.